In the shadowed corners of Dungeons and Dragons lore exists a being of profound mystery. Her powers defy comprehension, too subtle to fully grasp. She is the Raven Queen. She rules from the Raven Throne within the Fortress of Memories, a maze-like castle deep in the bleakness of the Shadowfell, a realm of eternal twilight and shadow. From her throne, she sends ravens across the multiverse to find souls that interest her, plucking them from various planes of existence and drawing them into her domain. Trapping the souls in the Shadowfell, she watches as these souls attempt to unravel the mysteries of their own existence, many ultimately descending into madness in the process. The Raven Queen's origin lies in ancient elven history within the Shadar-Kai, the pantheon of elven deities. But her story begins with ambition and tragedy. A catastrophic conflict arose between the elven deities Corellin and Lolt, splitting the elven people and threatening to fracture their entire pantheon forever. It was then that she emerged, an elf queen who would attempt to use the souls and magic of her people to elevate herself to godhood. An elf queen whose people loved more deeply than they loved the gods themselves. Her true name has been lost to time. Legends suggest she would ascend to godhood, then implore Corellin and Lolt to reconcile. But these fragments of stories are incomplete. Her true motives remain unknown. As her power grew, many elves became inspired, freely offering their souls and magical abilities to help achieve her goal of divine ascension and elven unity. These devoted followers called themselves the Shadar-Kai. They gathered others to their cause, hoping their queen would unify all elves once she achieved divinity. The queen's plan was ambitious. Use the souls of the Shadar-Kai to forge a pathway through the Feywild to Arvindor, the divine realm of the Shadar-Kai. As the numbers of Shadar-Kai grew, they became a formidable force. But among them lurked those with darker intentions, seeing the opportunity to gain power for themselves. A consortium of evil wizards among her followers performed their own self-serving ritual to siphon the Shadar-Kai's energy. The energy would impart them powers beyond legendary elven wizards. As the queen was ascending toward divinity and approached the entrance to Arvindor, she suddenly realized what the wizards were doing with her people's souls. She brought all her wrath down upon them as their ritual was underway. She was by now a quasi-divine entity, and her powerful emotions corrupted the ritual. The corrupted ritual transformed into a phenomenon with terrible strength of its own. By the time she realized her error, the twisted energy was grabbing hold. Powerless to stop it, she panicked and reached out to the Shadar-Kai souls for more power. But the spell had become irresistible, pulling the queen and all Shadar-Kai into the Shadowfell. Upon arrival in that realm of shadows, she was instantly killed. From her ruined mind and shattered body, something new emerged from death and despair. From that destruction, a new queen was born. When their ritual collapsed, the wizards in the consortium were pulled into Shadowfell with the queen. Their former queen released a scream of grief-stricken smoke that penetrated the flesh and minds of the wizards. The scream turned their bones black and lacerated their souls. Their agonized cries merged with hers as they mutated into scabrous, vulturish creatures called Nagpas. Now they wander the plains as wretched monsters, marked forever by the Raven Queen's curse, banished from her presence, doomed to eternal suffering. After the Nagpas were banished, the Shadar-Kai watched helplessly as their queen fell deeper into divine madness. Consumed by her pain over the wizard's betrayal, her kingdom's destruction, and her failure at godhood. The corrupted ritual continued transforming her, breaking down her physical form into an entity composed of symbols, images, and perceptions, becoming something beyond mortal. To prevent complete dissipation into nothingness, she used her remaining power to pull dead memories from the Shadowfell, creating a cloak of identities. Over centuries, those dark memories accumulated and coalesced, giving shape to the divine entity now known throughout the multiverse as the Raven Queen. Since achieving divinity, the The Raven Queen has filled her realm with shadows and memories, obsessively collecting essences from dead gods and mortals throughout the multiverse. From these metaphysical fragments, she formed her new home, a twisted castle the Shadar-Kai call the Fortress of Memories. The fortress is a mournful place, filled with incessant echoes of the past. Stories of tragedy and loss reverberate through the corridors. Flocks of ravens that act as her eyes and ears darken the skies around the fortress, bearing her cryptic messages and omens across the multiverse. Within the Fortress of Memories are trinkets the Raven Queen finds irresistible. Memories plucked from people's pasts that have been invested with deep feelings of pain, sorrow, longing, guilt, or remorse. These items are brought as gifts from the Shadar-Kai. Furniture, clocks, mirrors, jewels, toys, each one saturated with powerful emotional resonance. Ghostly visions of people, places, and pets spontaneously appear throughout her lair. Every object and apparition represents some story, great or small, that was saturated with raw emotion. The Raven Queen is trapped by her fascination with the past. She sits in her fortress among all the memories of the world, examining those that please her most. Many great wizards have attempted to understand her motives, but like a raven, she remains cryptic, keeping her cache of secrets just beyond reach. Fascinated with emotions, the Raven Queen worms into the unconscious minds of visitors, bringing forth visions from the deepest reaches of their psyches. Mortals entering the Raven Queen's realm are confronted with glimpses into their own internal landscape. Some visitors are souls of the departed pulled into her clutches. Others are astral travelers caught and trapped by her magic. But a rare few come of their own volition, seeking knowledge or freedom from a dark past. They willingly face her terrifying power and undergo her trial to access the secrets of their souls. Some come to free themselves from a dark and terrible past. It is said that the Raven Queen can make you confront your fears. Some find a way to move beyond them, but others can be driven mad. Some seek secrets of the dead. Adventurers travel to the Shadowfell to find souls claimed by the Raven Queen, hoping to unlock their memories. Some seek answers only she might know. Her realm contains memories from across the multiverse. Desperate adventurers might seek her out as a last resort or be led to her realm by a series of tempting clues. With godlike power, she can create demoplanes from a character's psyche. Upon entering the fortress, adventurers may find themselves transported elsewhere. A strange fairy tale world pulled from their experiences unfolds. A world filled with metaphors, parables, and allegories that challenge their frailties, fears, and desires. Much can be learned from adventuring within the fortress and undergoing the Raven Queen's test. Profound understanding awaits those who persevere. But much can also be lost. Many adventurers never return from the fortress, forever trapped within a world created from their own experience. The Raven Queen's power and dominion over souls, knowledge, and fate has long been coveted by many, including the Archleech Vecna. The ability to steal souls will grant Vecna an army of the dead, large enough to conquer the Shadowfell and transform it into his kingdom of death. From the Fortress of Memories, he will become an all-knowing being, accessing all knowledge stored within souls over the millennia. But to this day, all his attempts in usurping the Raven Queen and claiming the fortress have been thwarted in relentless battles against her Shadar-Kai fanatics. Some say this war is just another of the Raven Queen's beloved tragedies playing out for her amusement, another story in her collection. The Shadar-Kai are bound to the Raven Queen, cursed to forever serve her in the Shadowfell. They dwell outside the Fortress of Memories, usually too terrified to enter willingly. In their communities, they reenact old rituals and ceremonies, in pale imitation of the days when they dwelled in the light of their lost kingdom. In the Shadowfell, their bodies and faces are withered, displaying the full effects of the terrible magic that stripped their elven beauty. To hide their visages, they often wear masks made of metal or wood, but even these coverings are melancholic in appearance. When sent away from the Shadowfell to do the Raven Queen's bidding, they assume youthful features similar to other elves, though their skin remains deathly pale. The Shadar-Kai know that when they die, the Raven Queen captures their souls and returns them to the Shadowfell, where they are resurrected to serve again. They consider death temporary and care little for their current physical shell. Shadar-Kai know those who come willingly to the Raven Queen are there to beseech her for something, and thus they try to prepare such visitors for what they will face. The Queen's servants speak about the gravity of emotion, how sorrow weighs on the soul as it travels through Shadowfell, and how to persevere in the Raven Queen's test. When the Raven Queen sees a soul or a piece of information she wants, she sends ravens to alert the Shadar-Kai. Her ravens guide them to where barriers are weakest, allowing them to slip across plains to their destination. Once at their destination, the Shadar-Kai watch and wait for the tragedies their queen wishes to collect. Sometimes they are small, like a spurned lover or betrayal. Sometimes they are much graver, like a murder or a diabolical bargain. They use shadow magic to bring back a trinket for their queen. Desired bits of emotion are excised from the mind for living targets. For targets close to death, the entire soul is captured and brought back to the Raven Queen. Shadar-Kai are intensely interested in the magical silt at the bottom of the river Styx in the Nine Hells. It holds memories and identities of countless lost souls. Adventurers who procured this powder from River Styx will likely draw Shadar-Kai attention, who will attempt to steal or barter for it. Adventurers might bring a bit of the sediment as a gift to the Raven Queen. What she gives in return is never known, but her boons are wondrous. From restoration of lost souls or memories to glimpses into ancient knowledge. The Raven Queen's failed desire to interfere with the gods was taken as treason by both Corellin and Lolt themselves. As punishment, the physical reality of her kingdom was shifted to the Shadowfell, and the memory of her existence was wiped from all elven minds. No mortals knew of her initially, but over the centuries, those who journeyed to the Shadowfell or encountered Shadar-Kai spread tales of a dark fortress, a mysterious queen, and scores of seemingly sentient ravens. Most who have heard of the Raven Queen view her through superstitious fear, attributing all kinds of strange occurrences to her. But warlocks and sages who study the Queen know that her effect on the world reaches far deeper. Some speculate she is insane, pecking apart psyches with no more motive than a curious child pulling the legs off an ant. Others believe she needs emotional gravity to hold her eternally decaying identity together. But a few sages have postulated a greater purpose, that the Raven Queen cleanses souls that cling to fear and pain, forcing them to confront their unfinished business so they can ascend to higher planes. Some adventurers claim to have saw the Raven Queen when they died, before they were resurrected by fellow adventurers. In these visions, she guided them to complete quests that felt like part of their greater purpose. The Raven Queen's reason for communing this way is disputed. Some believe she uses people as pawns in an inscrutable game, with rules known only to her and the Lady of Pain. Others suggest she is balancing the multiverse by having mortals complete various tasks. Some say that in these moments of obeisance to her, the Raven Queen recalls a fragment of her lost identity. The Raven Queen remains an enigma, a tragic figure of immense power, forever bound to her fortress of memories, collecting the sorrows of the multiverse for eternity. Perhaps one day she will watch you, finding in your pain or triumph something worth collecting.